today we have a couple of people who want to change that, at least for Columbus. We have a candidate for mayor of Columbus and a candidate for city council. So let's see if we can maybe change things in at least one of these major cities. I'd like to introduce Earl Smith, who's running for mayor of Columbus. Earl?
Food, nice weather, and people I understand. This is a weird gathering to come to. You know, clearly my my opponent, my good opponent, you have to say that before you criticize, you have to say good, or God bless him, is not exactly a gun rights advocate. I was a police officer in Columbus for 33 years. I was the spokesperson for the division for a number of years, and as I told people 1,000 times, I do not apologize when a police officer or a law-abiding citizen gets to go home and the bad guy goes to the morgue. Because unfortunately, sadly, statistically, the majority of times it was the other way around. You know, when our good colonel said, God continue to bless the United States, absolutely, I pray for that. But let me share a little thought. My very wise mother, who I lost a few weeks ago, used to always say, God gave you a brain with the expectation you use it. God will not protect us from failure as a city, as a state, or as a nation. It is our decision-making process, our willingness to thoughtfully consider the challenges facing our nation, certainly in my case the city of Columbus. And if we fail to make good decisions, if we fail to stay committed, one day we will be a footnote in the history books as Rome, who lasted 1,000 years, is today. I will tell you there is no good reason for an average person to run for office. I knew it was going to be bad. Even I underestimated the potential to be in a sleazy business of sorts. But what I will tell you is, I've never been a politician. I will not be a politician. I will be someone who works for the public, as I was as a police officer. And I was very proud and very pleased to be a public servant. I don't think that's a bad label. I'm very fortunate the lady who was speaking to the colonel about her son at West Point happens to be my fiance. I get very choked up when I talk about our kids. My wife and I never were fortunate enough to have kids in our lives, and I lost my wife and was fortunate to meet someone who had the same incredible kind heart that Erin, my fiance, does. And through her kids, I have been fortunate enough to essentially have 2 grown kids, by the way, that don't need diaper changing. And her son, and her daughter's an incredible person too, but her son understands service before self. He is a good man. I pray to God that people like he, our service members that are serving today, will come back and take on this role and this burden to run for office in the future. We need people who understand it is not first and foremost about you. It is not the reality that in Congress 70% of the time is spent running for re-election. That's kind of like malfeasance. You have an obligation. It's also why, trust me, I will, that's a terrible thing for a political candidate to say, trust me, honest to God, no shit. This is not my life career. I happen to love Columbus. I have had, my entire life has been in Columbus. My family is buried here. And it's very important to see this city prosper. The gun argument is it's a cowardly argument because Mayor Coleman and the administration has been unable and unwilling to deal with criminals. I never worried about the honest people because what I discovered over the years is the criminals carried guns anyway. They're criminals. They don't follow the law. It's a staggering concept to me. It is important to remember that what gives us these incredible gifts is articulated through that Constitution. People don't understand all too often that it is in fact a slow process. You know, people say, well, you can't cross that line. I said, tell me where the line went. I don't have a clue what the line is, what's acceptable and not acceptable anymore. I just know that the one thing I'm prepared to do is be mayor of this city. I'm smart enough to know what I don't know, and there's a lot of things I don't know, but I will tell you, within the Central Ohio community, there are people that are incredibly bright, that actually believe in service before themselves, and those are the people that I will surround myself with. I know they will keep me on track, and together we will bring Columbus back on track. I greatly appreciate the opportunity to speak for a minute, and I wish you continued success. Now that I know specifically about the organization, you'll get my membership dues, so thank you very much.